Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. China, Ji Province, Ji City. Although it has been dark for a long time, as the leading super metropolis in China, it is still full of people and lights. In a 24-hour convenience store on the Development Avenue in the center of the city, a very young man is looking down, frowning, holding a brush in his hand, painting back and forth on the paper and whispering. It's almost finished. Although I'm tired, it depends on this painting whether I can succeed or not. This young man's name is Chen Zhe. He is a cartoonist. China's cartoon industry is extremely developed, so a large number of people who have cartoon dream and hope to become big cartoonists join the cartoon industry. However, only a few people succeed. Most of them have no food and clothing, and have to rely on part-time jobs to make a living. Chen Zhe is such a street cartoonist, but unlike other street cartoonists, his soul does not actually belong to this world. He was an Earthman in his previous life and was reborn a month ago for no reason. At first, he thought it was just a simple rebirth. Later, he found that the world he lived in was very different from the previous world. Although the world was still divided into China, the United States, the island countries and other countries, the domestic situation was very different from Chen Zhe's previous life. This difference is reflected in the cartoon. The former island country is famous for its comics in the world, but this island country has not developed a brilliant comics industry. On the contrary, China is thriving. The domestic comics industry is extremely developed, and thus extends to form a complete industrial chain. For example, adapted animation, peripheral products, theater version of the film, animation episode. These are also as prosperous as the island countries of previous generations. It seems that on this, the two countries are reversed. Chen Zhe is a man full of comic dream. In his previous life, because of the problems in the domestic comic industry, his dream has never been realized. However, in his life, he went to this industry early and began to learn painting very early. Even in order to draw comics, he even dropped out of college. Unfortunately, perhaps due to his limited talent, Chen Zhe has become a street painter without any accident. In order to make a living, I have to paint and work part-time. If it had not been for his rebirth a month ago, his life would have passed like this. Since God has given me a chance to be reborn, how can I not take this chance well? Thinking of this, Chen Zhe clenched his fists tightly. Maybe he didn't have a future in the comic industry before, but now it's different. Maybe it's because of rebirth and crossing. Chen Zhe has a deep memory of his past life. Especially the many classic comics, because the previous love of animation, he is clear. With this resource advantage, Chen Zhe has the strength to show his strength in the comic industry. Welcome. Just then, the automatic door of the convenience store opened, and a man in his 40s came in cautiously, dragging a stack of boxes higher than people. Seeing this, Chen Zhe quickly walked over and helped the man hold the box and push it to a corner of the shop. Thanks, Xiao Chen. The middle-aged man wiped the sweat on his face and told Chen Zhe that he was a delivery driver for the convenience store. He had to deliver the goods every night, so he was already familiar with Chen Zhe. Here's today's manifest. You check the goods and sign your name. He took a stack of paper from the top box and handed it to Chen Zhe. Chen Zhe nodded, took the list and began to order the goods. 130 loaves, yes. 120 boxes of box lunch, that's right. Chen Zhe was still chanting while he was lighting the goods. He has been doing this job for quite a long time. Naturally, he is very skilled. Soon, he ordered all the goods. Well, Uncle Li. He signed his name, turned and handed it to the delivery driver, only to find that the truck driver was looking at something with relish. Chen Zhe walked in and saw that what he was looking at was his own paintings. Xiao Chen, did you draw this? The driver took the list and asked Chen Zhe. Well, I drew this during this period. I'm going to contribute to Latte Society. Chen Zhe nodded. He often used his time in the evening to draw cartoons, because although it was hard to stay up late, there was no business in the convenience store at night. He had a lot of time to draw his own cartoons. Uncle Li can often see Chen Zhe drawing with a paintbrush, so he also knows that he is a cartoonist. However, because Huaxia's cartoons are so famous, even truck drivers like Uncle Li know cartoonists. The cartoon industry is very developed, but the competition is also quite fierce. He has seen Chen Zhe's comics before. To tell you the truth, there is nothing attractive about them, but today's comics, it's a good painting. It's much better than your previous works. Uncle Li praised that although he is now this age, he was also a cartoon fan when he was young. He once wanted to be a cartoonist. Therefore, although he hasn't seen comics for a long time, it doesn't affect his judgment of excellent comics. Before, he felt that Chen Zhe had no future in the comic industry. Therefore, when he learned that Chen Zhe had dropped out of school, he specialized in painting. He also talked to Chen Zhe several times to persuade him, but now looking at the painting in his hand, his idea changed a little. This guy, maybe he has some talent in comics. After listening to Uncle Li's words, Chen Zhe smiles embarrassed. After he was reborn and came to this world, he also looked through his previous works. The basic painters are still very solid, but it can be said that the story and sub-shot are terrible. Can only use a word to describe. Have the heart of drawing comics, but not the life of drawing comics. Just now, Uncle Li saw that it was a famous work of a famous cartoonist in his previous life, which he copied. Naturally, his level is much higher than that of him. So just now when Uncle Li praised him, he was a little embarrassed. Your drawing is quite interesting. By the way, did you name this cartoon? Uncle Li held up a piece of paper with a large head of the hero and asked Chen Zhe. Chen Zhe looked at the protagonist on the paper, with fiery red hair, a steamed bun face, hands akimbo, raised his head to the sky, and roared with laughter. I'm a genius. He also slightly said. I give him the name Slam Dunk Master. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.